Have you ever noticed that some people would rather lose a relationship, burn a bridge, or even sabotage their own future than say two simple words, "I'm sorry"? And look, before you judge them, here's the uncomfortable truth. If you've ever replayed an argument in your head thinking, "I wasn't wrong enough to apologize," or "they deserved it," or "if I apologize, I lose," then this video is probably about you. Because the psychology of people who never apologize isn't about arrogance, it's about identity protection. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. My name is Sam, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of people who never apologize. If you're someone who struggles to admit fault, hates feeling weak, or feels a physical resistance at the idea of saying "I was wrong," make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing, this behavior doesn't just affect your relationships, it quietly controls your career, your money, and your entire trajectory in life. And most people have no idea it's happening. Challenging the common belief. Most psychology advice will tell you that people who never apologize are narcissists, that they're selfish, egotistical, emotionally immature. Look, that's lazy psychology, because studies consistently show that many non-apologizers actually score higher on conscientiousness and self-control than average. So what's really going on? Here's what most people don't realize. Not apologizing isn't about refusing responsibility. It's about protecting an internal self-image at all costs. And once that image is threatened, logic shuts off. The core psychological mechanism. Let's break this down simply. Your brain has two competing needs: accuracy, seeing reality clearly, and consistency, staying aligned with who you believe you are. Now here's the problem. For people who never apologize, consistency always wins, because apologizing would mean admitting, "I misjudged, I failed, I hurt someone unintentionally," and that directly threatens their identity as "I'm competent, I'm fair, I'm rational, I'm the responsible one." So instead of updating their beliefs, they rewrite reality. This is where it gets really interesting. A 2018 study published in Personality and Individual Differences found that people who strongly associate their self-worth with being right experience the same neurological stress response to admitting fault as they do to social rejection. Translation? To their nervous system, apologizing feels like being pushed out of the tribe, and the brain hates that. So it does what it always does under threat. It rationalizes. The rationalization loop. Here's the mental loop. Yes, maybe I said that, but they overreacted. Anyone would have done the same. If I apologize, they'll think I'm weak. Now look, this isn't conscious manipulation. This is subconscious self-preservation. And once this loop forms, it shows up everywhere, especially with money. The financial side nobody talks about. Now you might be thinking, what does apologizing have to do with finances? Everything. Because the same psychology that prevents someone from saying, "I was wrong," also prevents them from saying, "I made a bad investment. This career path isn't working. I need to change strategy." Let me give you a real example. A simple money example. Imagine two people. Both invest $10,000 into a business idea. After 1 year, the business is clearly failing. Revenue is declining. Costs are rising. Person A says, "This isn't working. I miscalculated." They cut their losses at $7,000, reinvest elsewhere, and recover. Person B says, "I just need to push harder." They refuse to admit the mistake. They double down. They invest another $10,000. 2 years later, they're down $20,000, emotionally exhausted, and still defending the decision. This is called escalation of commitment, and non-apologizers are statistically far more prone to it. The hidden cost of never apologizing. According to research from the Journal of Behavioral Decision-Making, individuals who score high in identity protective cognition lose an average of 18 to 25% more money over long-term decision cycles, not because they're unintelligent, but because they refuse to admit when they're wrong. Look, that's not a personality flaw, that's a blind spot. Why this starts early. Here's what most people don't realize. This behavior usually forms in childhood, often in environments where mistakes were punished. Being wrong meant shame. Apologies were forced, not modeled. So the child learns being wrong equals unsafe, and that belief never gets updated. Instead, it hardens. Why apologies feel like loss. To a non-apologizer, apologizing feels like losing status, losing control, losing leverage. But here's the irony. In reality, refusing to apologize costs far more because trust compounds, just like money. Trust is a financial asset. Let's talk numbers. A Harvard Business Review analysis found that high-trust teams outperform low-trust teams by 286% in revenue per employee. Why? Because trust reduces friction. No second guessing, no defensive communication, no ego battles. And apologies are one of the fastest trust builders we have. Now you might be thinking, but Sam, some people weaponize apologies. You're right, some people interpret apologies as weakness. But here's the key distinction most people miss. Healthy apologies don't surrender power, they clarify reality. The difference between weak and strong apologies. Weak apology, I'm sorry you feel that way. Strong apology, I misjudged this. Here's what I'll do differently. See the difference? One avoids responsibility, the other demonstrates competence. And ironically, strong apologies increase perceived authority. The darker psychology angle. Here's the darker layer. People who never apologize often believe deep down that relationships are zero-sum games. If you win, I lose. If I apologize, you gain power over me. That belief is subtle and it's deadly, because life isn't zero-sum, it's positive-sum. How this affects your career. Managers who refuse to apologize lose employee loyalty, experience higher turnover, get filtered information. Employees stop telling them the truth, which leads to worse decisions, which leads to stagnation, all because of two words they couldn't say. Here's what most people don't realize. Apologizing doesn't erase authority. Refusing to apologize erodes it, slowly, silently, invisibly, until one day you're wondering why people don't trust you anymore. Actionable step number 1. Redefine what an apology means. Stop seeing apologies as admissions of failure. Start seeing them as course corrections, data updates, strategic resets, because that's what they are. Actionable step number 2. Use the 24-hour rule. If you feel resistance to apologizing, wait 24 hours, not to avoid it, but to observe your rationalizations. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? Usually, it's not truth, it's ego. Actionable step number 3. Separate identity from decisions. You are not your past choices. You are the person responding to new information. High performers apologize faster, not slower. A final story. I once worked with someone who lost a 6-figure opportunity, not because of lack of skill, but because they refused to admit a minor mistake in negotiations. The deal died. Years later, they still defend their stance. That's the tragedy of this psychology. The cost is invisible until it's permanent. Final insight. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The ability to apologize is not emotional weakness, it's cognitive strength. It's the ability to update your model of reality without collapsing your identity.
And that skill, it predicts better relationships, better money decisions, and better long-term outcomes. Closing and call to action. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means something clicked. If you want more content on the hidden psychology behind everyday behavior and how it quietly shapes your financial future, subscribe to the channel. This is the Quiet Hour 24, and the people who master this psychology don't just understand others, they understand themselves. I'll see you in the next one.